Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time. Pictures so perfect we play.
Hello everyone, welcome to Anointed Lady TV, the home of news and politics. If it is your first time in this channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you like what we do on this channel, hit on the subscribe button, also put on the notification bell so you'll be notified by YouTube anytime we drop a new video. And if you are returning subscribers, thank you very much for always coming back to watch our videos. On this platform, we drop videos every day and we react to every video that come our way. And on this very video, I will be watching with you. And after watching, let's go to the comment section and drop our opinion constructively. Like our videos and also share our videos if possible. See you next time.
The video I'm about to show you contains very annoying revelations made by an APC member about the true intentions of the World Bank. And from the revelations made by the speaker in the video, who happens to be a top APC member, it shows two things. Number one, the intentions of the World Bank for the poor masses of Nigeria, and exposes the fact that Tinubu is aware of these intentions and exposes the real reason why Tinubu actually increased the pump price of petrol. Contrary to what Tinubu has been claiming, it was not a decision that was reached by him. It was a decision that was reached for him. Watch the video and then we'll come back and talk more.
I have always said that nobody should trust the World Bank. And the developing countries of the world should always suspect the World Bank.
Why is that?
Because World Bank can never give you something that makes you develop. World Bank will give you every loan and every assistance that will make you depend on the developed countries, that will make you develop on rely on Europe, the Americas, Western and Eastern Europe, and other countries who are their patrons, so that you don't develop. Well, we've taken the loan, but let it just be, it is something that will last for only about 2 weeks. It will not sustain Nigeria. One of the encouraging steps that the World Bank sought to make to assure Nigerians, to give government comfort to remove fuel subsidy. So I think it was an unsolicited action by the World Bank just to encourage us. I am of the APC, we are of the APC, and both of us are bound to defend the policies of our government. And therefore, His Excellency, our President, thought it wise to make this submission to the National Assembly. Don't forget that, as you've stated in your narrative, the former president also made that request, but it wasn't agreed to.
From what Senator Ita Enang just said, he's a ranking APC member. In fact, he was former senior special assistant or special advisor to President Buhari on National Assembly matters. So that's to tell you how high up he is. And if there's somebody who would know about the true intentions of the World Bank and the whole reason behind this so-called fuel subsidy removal, it is Senator Ita Enang. And from what he just said, you can read between the lines and see that really the whole decision to remove fuel subsidy was not a decision of our government. It was a decision of the World Bank and the IMF. And they tried to force it on Buhari. So to make it easy for him to implement the whole removal of fuel subsidy, which should have actually been prosecution of people who corruptly and fraudulently collected fuel subsidy money for fuel that was not supplied. They said it was fuel subsidy removal. You see that the whole idea was forced on Buhari. And to make the whole idea palatable for Buhari, they offered to give Buhari a loan of $800 million under the name of palliatives. Tinubu, Buhari both knew that the whole intention of the World Bank for calling for the Nigerian government to increase the pump price of fuel in the name of fuel subsidy removal was not to benefit the people. In fact, on the contrary, they knew that it would make life difficult for the Nigerian masses. They knew, but they still went on to implement it anyway. Senator Ita Enang just said it now, that the World Bank never means well for developing countries. So the question is, why will Tinubu dance to the tune of the World Bank against the desires of the people of Nigeria? Who is Tinubu working for? Why is he choosing to work for that particular group of persons against the national interest of his own country? What is it that they have on Tinubu? Is Tinubu compromised? These are the questions.
What will sustain Nigeria and Nigerians is a sustainable action at the small scale level for almost every local government or every 3-4 group of local governments to have a refinery park where they are refining petroleum products, petrol, diesel, and all that. I have been on this advocacy for years. One, that we should convert the artisanal refineries into use and develop it. Now, I have gone beyond that.
Right.
We're now saying, look, there are in other countries of the world, as at today, many nations which are decommissioning their existing small-scale refineries because of the zero emission,
Right.
that decommissioning. And some of those refineries are lying west in those countries. Why don't we get them decommissioned, decoupled, and then we containerize them back to get to Nigeria? Or in the alternative, we simply look at those that are suspected to be owned by Nigerians or by some Nigerians, which some Nigerians have interest in most of those countries where they are refining petroleum products and sent to Nigeria. Because it is alleged, and let me use the word alleged again, that why people in the NNPC and people in the oil industry and those who are in the family of the petroleum will not want any refinery in Nigeria to work is because, and will not want the petroleum refined in Nigeria, is that they have interest in either in the petroleum refining industries and refineries outside the country.
So,
even the one in Niger. Now again, most of them are surviving on the vessels in the sea, which are bringing these products, and so they wouldn't want it to end. Finally, to conclude on this matter,
yes.
I want to say that, look, we have a lot of fund in this country. There is the 800 million naira, which we are told we've saved from removal of subsidy in the
a month.
400 for 2 months.
billion.
It is 800 naira.
Right.
We should take that money, get it as a loan from the federation account, just like we did in the power sector under Obasanjo, and then use it in building small-scale refineries. Second, there is the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, PTDF.
Right.
It was intended to create and use the money to develop small-scale industries, including small-scale refining in the petroleum sector. There is also the Local Content Development Board Fund, the monitoring board. There is fund in that account. There is the
so in other words, what you're saying, look,
there are so many money,
Nigeria
so much money rather.
really has no business going borrowing.
You can't borrow. We have enough money in country to use.
It is amazing and surprising how our politicians and political office holders actually have these very beautiful ideas before they get into office, and then they forget about those ideas while they are in office, and then they remember those ideas after they have left office. Look at the beautiful things that Senator Ita Enang is speaking about. This is the immediate past senior special advisor or assistant to the President Muhammadu Buhari on National Assembly matters, talking this beautifully. The one will wonder, why were these positions not pushed to President Buhari while Ita Enang was his senior special advisor or senior special assistant? Why? And then he's making a case for how we need artisanal refineries or modular refineries. He has answered the question. himself. The World Bank does not want Nigeria to have the capacity to refine petrol locally, except it is through organizations or companies that they have shares in. If you don't know, it is already reported out there that the Dangote refineries is 70% owned by a company called IIBDG, which has funding drawn from here and there and ties with the International Financing Corporation, which is an arm of the World Bank. So, if any refinery, artisanal or whatever, modular or whatever, is not owned by these foreign corporations who will give them foreign direct investment to have major ownership in those so-called artisanal or modular refineries, they simply will not be allowed to function. And that is why you see our government officials, our politicians destroying artisanal refineries in the name of, oh, they are the ones doing oil bunkering in the Niger Delta or stealing our crude oil. Because these so-called big-time multinational corporations do not have a stake in them. The World Bank will not allow Nigeria to do well. It will not. It is not in their intention to do so. They never wanted to leave us. They never wanted to end slave trade. They were forced to because they discovered the steam engine. So they were forced to end the slave trade. But then they devised another means, which was colonization. That was when they met in the Berlin Conference and shared Africa amongst themselves. Now they came and they started colonization, which was to provide raw materials for their factories in Europe. So it was easier for Nigeria to transport our raw materials, our rubber, our coal, our cocoa from Nigeria through ships to London than transporting it even within Nigeria. Because that was what they wanted at that time. But then comes the Second World War that disrupted their plans. Were it not for the Second World War, trust me, colonization would not have ended. But the Second World War happened, and Hitler and Japan totally destroyed Europe. Totally decimated the military power of Europe. And so they could no longer sustain their colonization architecture. They could no longer sustain it. Coupled with the fact that US used the Second World War to steal power from Asia and Europe and became the single world dominant world superpower. And they forced the Europeans to abandon colonization to make way for the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF, the World Bank, and the World Trade Organization, International Labour Organization, and all the like. So they were forced out of Africa during the end of colonization by America, by the Bretton Woods institutions. They never wanted to leave. Europeans never wanted to leave. The Brits, the French, the Spanish, they never wanted to leave. They were forced out. But they were given assurances by the Bretton Woods institutions, which had also in turn come to take over Europe. America has stolen Europe. America owns Europe now. All the big multinational corporations in Europe are owned by big persons from the America. So now they are forced to leave Africa in the name of ending colonization. But of course, there's a new system that was put in place, which would ensure that they actually never left, because the effect of colonization will be carried on towards the Bretton Woods institution to ensure that the resources of Africa and Nigeria continues to flow to the Europeans and now to the Americans.
What I have suggested are very short-term measures. The short term about it is that the refineries are available in the creeks. They're there. The army will go and then will destroy it, and then they will rebuild it. Why don't we withdraw? In fact, part of the fund that we should use in funding the refineries is the amount of the money that we are spending on Operation Delta Serve. That is the Army, the Navy, the Civil Defense, and all those people operating there. It is short term. The technology is there. The fuel is there. The crude is there. So just give it to them, let them produce, and give it to you. And these people have had many meetings with the government and said, look, if you give us the crude, we will pay you, because the cost of what we are paying to the unconventional channels, that you have placed there, is higher than if we were paying directly and buying the crude. Now, the other short term the government should do is this: the government should have an arrangement where it does emergency importation of petroleum products. It will have the vessels. The vessels will bring in products. The government will allow it land without charging all those elements that were put in that raises the cost of petroleum product. It will remove it as if it is part of the palliative is given to the people. The government will now say, okay, we're not charging VAT. We're not charging tax. We're not charging custom duty. We're not starting NPA and other fees as a means of getting the fuel easily available to the people. That is also a short term. Now, whatever you are charging in that, you are still putting the pain on the people. These are a very short term measures. Very short term measure.
Right.
And whatever we are looking for in Sokoto, is there for your Sokoto. I'm not a fan of palliative, but I think that we shouldn't apply this. Yes, it's given us as palliatives, but whatever we call palliatives, whatever can solve our problems and take us to a better level in this country should be our definition of palliative.
Right.
My idea of what palliative should be is, how do I make somebody who was able to go to work in the morning and come back, to be able to still go to work and come back? How do I make somebody who was able to go to work 5 days a week, who now goes to work 3 days a week, how do I make the person be able to go to work 5 days a week again? Right. And that is by way of returning him to what it was. I look at the kind of palliatives in one of the things I've suggested. Look, can we invest part of this money by way of waivers? Waiver by way of, one, getting into local production emergency, two, of petroleum emergency, two, importing these petroleum products with a lot of waivers, a lot of taxes and customs duty and everything waived, so that the petroleum product can still arrive and the person can buy it at a reasonable price and then still able to produce for the economy. Because if somebody who was going to work 5 days a week is now going to work 2 days a week, it is the economy and the GDP that is suffering. Yes. Yeah. Now, I think we should know that what they call palliative, we will still repay. It's not a grant. And so we should invest it in things that can regenerate in the economy. Right. We should apply part of it in the emergency food production program, which will make food available. It shouldn't just be distribution and let it be consumed, because you will pay. Perhaps it will be paid by, if you look at the instrument that His Excellency Mr. President transmitted to the National Assembly. Now, it will state the conditions of paying. It will state how long you will pay, yes, and from which source you will pay. I suspect it is oil, because sometimes the vote and proceeding doesn't state how. Sometimes it simply says it will be such conditions as the Minister of Finance will negotiate and agree. But these are things that we should think of applying the money in a manner that looks as an investment, which will have some returns that it will lighten the pains of Nigerians and return the economy to a running stream. Yeah. Finally, there is something that people are doing now which is encouraging. A lot of people are trying to avoid petrol. Good effort. They are having generators that are running on gas.
Looking for alternatives.
Yes, looking for alternatives. And I think it is one of the best things that has happened. But let Nigeria beware that this is how we were celebrating coal. Now nobody needs coal again anymore. Whatever you call palliative is palliative. It is not palliative when you give somebody money to go and buy rice and chicken one day and eat. It is palliative if you give somebody money and he's able to give him 8,000 or 20,000, and is able to buy seedlings of potatoes or tomatoes, and then plant around his yard, or buy condemned
Like I
rubber,
have around my yard.
and then this condemned rubber, and then put sand there,
Right.
and plant water leaf.
Family
Mint,
family farming,
farm.
that's
Yes,
what you're
yes.
saying.
Now,
Right.
plant it and then get it. You remember what was done by His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo under when this program was under. It was just, they will come, see that you have the need in the market. It was managed by Mrs. Wali or something,
Right.
the wife of the former Chief Justice of Nigeria. Now, it was well managed. And so we should replicate this so that it is not palliative to it. It is palliative for you invest in your small manner. You know, it is palliative to it in your small businesses. You know, if you come to my village, there are women who, if they have the smallest money, 20,000, 50,000, they won't go to come to buy things. They will plant most of the things around in their compound, in their farms. They will rent, lease land and plant yam long term. But by the side of the yam, they plant potatoes, which is only 60 days. It will. By the planting of the potatoes, they will do ugu by the side of it. It will yield quickly, they sell the leaves. So these are the kind of plan that we should have, an integrated thing. We should not give this money, we should not apply it like they say to build schools, to do hospitals and so on. It shouldn't. It should be in the smallest investment. Right. Even apply it in, we're talking about emergency food program. Emergency food, you can even apply for them. There are those who have oil palm farms. I mean oil palm trees. They need just 30, 50,000 to go prune the oil palm trees, do the weeding, and in 2 months, in 30 days, the palm fruits are yielding again, having life. You do like what we call farm rescue in the program we did in the Niger Delta.
Ladies and gentlemen, good day, my brothers and sisters, my mommies and my daddies over there. Is your sister again, your doctor, your friend, your girl, Anointed Lady TV. Please, if today is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, please do subscribe for me. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video, you will be notified. So in this my channel, I will be bringing up many things to you in which you will benefit from it. I do talk show, I do news, anything you want to talk about, I am into it. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video or each time I'm on live on YouTube, you will be notified. Thank you very much for always being there for me. Please do subscribe for me, and as you do so, God will richly bless you and meet your heart desire. Thank you very much. I love you all. Ladies and gentlemen, good day, my brothers and sisters, my mommies and my daddies over there. Is your sister again, your doctor, your friend, your girl, Anointed Lady TV. Please, if today is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, please do subscribe for me. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video, you will be notified. So in this my channel, I will be bringing up many things to you in which you will benefit from it. I do talk show, I do news, anything you want to talk about, I am into it. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video or each time I'm on live on YouTube, you will be notified. Thank you very much for always being there for me. Please do subscribe for me, and as you do so, God will richly bless you and meet your heart desire. Thank you very much. I love you all.